Welcome to Journey TV. I'm your host, Yvette Craddock. Journey TV is a series of programs dedicated to exploring cultural diversity in the corridor. Each episode features the personal stories of local residents who share their challenges and contributions to enrich the corridor's cultural climate. They share their stories with the intention that we collectively increase our understanding, acceptance, tolerance, and respect for each other. Their personal stories may be their individual journeys, but their individual journeys represent those of many. We are the many.
Jen grew up in a typical American household. The youngest of four, she was raised by her parents, Norm and Doris, in a loving, tight-knit family environment. It was clear from an early age that she had a thirst for adventure. Growing up on an acreage in Solon, Iowa, provided her the perfect outlet.
Jennifer was about, maybe 9 years old. She wanted a horse. So what does Dad do? Buys an acreage with a horse, and not only one horse, 2 horses. So her girlfriend had a horse there.
She had a horse named Bo. That horse was laying down out in the pasture. She could walk out in the pasture, sit on the back of that horse. He wouldn't move. If he stand up, she could run up behind him like John Wayne and like that on top of him. If I tried that, I'd go to the moon this way. He didn't like me.
He didn't like Norm.
She could do anything with that horse.
When other kids rode their 10-speed bikes, I had my horse.
She also garnered her sense of freedom as the youngest of 4 who came along later in her parents' lives.
I was the baby, and so they wanted to play with me. I got a lot of attention. And they also moved out very quickly, so I was able to kind of be an only child and get all of Mom and Dad's attention. So it was very busy for me. I had the best of both worlds, I gotta say. I mean, Mom and Dad worked full time, but my sister always took me, my brother always took me. Sometimes took me where I wasn't supposed to go, but that's okay. I got to experience a lot.
She's close with her brother and her sister too. It's a close family.
Despite the age difference.
Despite the age difference. A real good kid to raise. Surprises came along, but that was all right too.
She was by far the most expensive kid we had.
In her teens, it became clear that she excelled in sports. One stood tall amongst the others.
She loved volleyball. She didn't care for track. She played basketball, and we never missed a game for volleyball from the time she was in 9th grade.
Yeah, I was very good. That was my talent. There was this guy that my dad worked with, and he had a kid my age, actually a stepdaughter. And one of the things we would do while we were camping is we would all play volleyball together, and they would always encourage us kids to play, and that's why I fell in love with the game, because Leroy, we called him Uncle Leroy, he would, come on kids, and he would encourage us to play no matter how bad we were. And he encouraging us to play made me feel good about the game. So to this day, when I play volleyball, it's not about the competition. It's really about everybody really getting together and having a good time and laughing and joking and kind of plugging fun at each other. And that, to me, is what a sport is. So when people get competitive, I lose interest.
Jen left volleyball behind in her hometown when she went off to college.
I chose a college in Missouri that was fairly inexpensive because I knew they were going to be helping me pay for it. I worked full and part-time both while I was down there to help pay for it.
As usual, Jen focused on her responsibilities. Because of her dedication to her goal, she continued to silence the truth about herself that she had kept a secret since junior high school.
Let's go back to junior high, because you mentioned that was a pivotal moment for you.
It was. I was not interested in the boys. I started to kind of clue in that I wasn't, that I liked girls, and I thought, I'm keeping my mouth shut, because there was a couple kids in our grade that were picked on for being gay. Whether they were or not, I couldn't tell you now. And they were relentless. I really wasn't sure if it was even something that someone could be. I mean, there was nobody else that I knew that I could look up to and say, oh, they like girls, and girls can like girls, and boys can like boys, and that's okay.
How did you figure it out?
Well, I did date some boys in high school, but it would come to the kissing part, and I was just, ew. I couldn't do it. It felt like I imagined someone that's straight trying to kiss someone of the same sex would feel. I just didn't feel right. It felt wrong to me, like I was doing something wrong. After we broke up, which was in high school, I was about 16, 17, I just kind of knew, again, keep my mouth shut, I just want to get to college. I think it was fairly early on in college, okay, now I know I'm a lesbian, Now I know I like girls, but I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm just going to not. And when people would ask me, I would either deny it or just say I don't want to talk about it. Because I needed to focus on my studies. I need to focus on getting out of college and getting a job. And then I think part of what my parents raised me was this responsibility for myself. So I wanted to take care of my responsibilities before I let myself be whatever I needed to be. Okay. So I needed to be whatever everyone else needed me to be until I could get to my safety point.
To your safe landing, and then you can
springboard
from there.
The springboard was probably my ex McGuire. I call her McGuire. Her name's Jen too. She asked me out on a date. I said no like 15 times. Finally, I said yes, and she was the one that said to me, you know, you need to get a grip on your reality here. You have a job. You're out of college. I was working, you know, and that was it. Then I just said okay, and I jumped into it, both feet.
She got a grip, got a job, and decided it was time to take responsibility for her authentic self. It was about that time that she came out to her parents.
We ate Chinese food at Mom and Dad's house. I'd been with McGuire for 6 months, maybe not even, and I said to them, specifically I remember saying, hey, you know, Jen, she's not just my roommate. And I felt my ears burning and my face turning red, and Mom started crying like pretty quickly.
What was going on inside of you? What emotions did you experience?
I just tried to block it out at first.
And Dad kind of got mad.
It broke up Mother up pretty bad.
And I think he was mad at me for making Mom cry, but he yelled at Mom kind of in a way, and he said, oh, you know, Doris, you known since she was 8. We've known since she was 8.
The kids knew.
And I said, well, what? Why didn't you tell me? And they're like, well, you need to figure stuff out, and we just didn't know what it meant. You know, we just knew you liked girls, and you were always this tomboy, and you weren't like a tomboy that outgrew it.
So you date a boy, she'd always find something wrong with him.
Yeah.
Didn't make any difference, good or bad.
Then we kind of went back and ate the rest of our stuff. Dad said, you know, she's just like Ellen. She's like Ellen, she likes girls. I was so freaked out, I just wanted to get it out, and then I just ate my supper, and I was like, okay, bye, I gotta go, because I didn't know what else to do.
And I said, Mom, yesterday you loved her, didn't you? So nothing changed. So you love her today just like yesterday, so that's it.
We've been there for her ever since.
Mom was upset, and she will to this day, and I'm sure she'll tell you, she wasn't upset because of who I am. She was upset because she knew the world was going to be harder for me.
Has the world been harder for you?
I think it's been more fun. I wouldn't want to, I mean, I look and I see my friends from high school, and they got married and got divorced and had kids, and it's like, they didn't get experience like marching on Washington with like 10,000 other people that are like me, like that have a community. They didn't get to go, you know, see Ellen DeGeneres speak at a big rally in New York City or Washington, D.C. and be with, again, tens of thousands of people that are like me or that are my allies. They don't experience, not that they're missing that, but I would have missed that. I would have missed that community. I can't ever picture myself being some of my friends from high school that are very feminine, and they're very, they're beautiful people, and they have this kind of traditional picket fence life, and that's just not me. That's just not me.
Jen has remained true to the avoidance of a white picket fence. She hasn't been able to escape its connotation completely. In 2000, Jen met her match and then some. Jen's initial skepticism about online dating quickly turned around when she connected with a woman named Rita.
Rita popped up, and I cannot remember, I think she emailed me. And she asked me, you know, if I was interested in doing anything, and she was just being very, and I said, well, actually I'm cleaning the barn this weekend, and she said, well, I'll come help you. And then it downpoured rain, and so we couldn't do it, it was flooded, so I said, I can't do it, so why don't we just go out and drink? Okay, so we went out to eat and to drink, and when I walked to her door, her name's Rita Rosalie, and I thought, oh, you know, I'm going to get this hot Hispanic chick, and she's going to be all feisty, and we're going to do this, and she does salsa, and we're going to have tacos, and whatever we're going to do. And I get to her door, and I was wrong. And she's she had curly hair. Her hair is extremely curly when it's grown out, and a leather jacket, and, you know, a motorcycle, and this little tiny apartment with this little tiny cat with no tail, and she was all this butch and all this tender. And I thought, you know, this could kind of be fun. And we immediately did the lesbian thing, which is, we're just going to be friends. We're just going to start as friends. And that lasted like, I don't know, 20 minutes. I don't know. It lasted about 2 or 3 days. And then we just started dating seriously. She moved in with her cats. And she just took over the house. I mean, she immediately saw things in this house that I had never touched, never even looked at. And she, oh my God, we got to do this, and this needs to be done. And she's right. And this house has been in a state of repair ever since, because it just was, I needed her skills to kind of move me. If it was me, I would just come home and I would hang out with my horses all day or watch TV, and I would just let the house fall around me. And it was, to me, the house is just kind of a place to live when I'm sleeping. To her, it's a home, and she made it a home.
Rita is a soulful woman who possesses a quiet nature. She is the youngest of 6 children who grew up in a small Illinois town. After speaking with her about the childhood and adult life moments that shaped her, it doesn't take long to ascertain that Rita is a confident, authentic person whose strength emanates through her reserved presence.
I grew up in a small town in Illinois called Sheffield, Illinois.
Oh, yes.
Graduating class of 23 people.
And how did you make your way to Eastern Iowa?
By some really bad choices and some really good choices over my life. I originally was in Kewanee, Illinois until both of my parents died when I was really young, and so I went to live with my grandmother, and she adopted me and my other siblings, and graduated out from there and just kind of started exploring life when most kids were going to college and, you know, planning their futures. I was still having a really good time with life, so I thought.
So you thought.
Like Jen, Rita had an instinctive feeling that she was a lesbian as a young girl. However, she quickly picked up on her small community pressures to conform to the norm in order to avoid intense harassment.
I had the gut feeling back when we were playing Little League softball. When I grew up in our community, there was, you didn't come out as being gay at all, and there wasn't any other races in the area or anything. So a lot of my upbringing, I heard a lot of the negative words and a lot of the negative terms and behaviors and stuff, and, you know.
For gays and
for gays, for
anybody of racial diversity. So if you didn't fit the pattern, it sounds like that was it.
Yep.
So you better fit the pattern to survive.
Yes, even if you thought you were gay, you better look like you're not, because if they think you are, then they're going to harass you. And I kind of went through a hard time like that when I was a junior in high school, and it was really hard on me. So.
What did you do to adjust?
There wasn't a whole lot I could do. I just kind of like kept more to myself, and eventually it kind of all went away. That's one of the things I try and tell my kids when they're, you know, having issues. You know, sometimes the best thing you can do is not say anything at all and just pretend like it doesn't bother you, and eventually it goes away.
Yeah, don't give it any energy.
Seemingly different, these Midwestern women shared one common burden: silencing their true identities to survive the conventional lifestyles of their small hometowns. After surviving a childhood marred by the loss of her parents and wandering through her early adult years, Rita landed in Cedar Rapids.
And you obviously had a moment where things shifted.
They did.
What was that moment? What changed it?
I think the moment was when all the fun that I thought I was having really actually turned out to be not that much fun. So I decided that I better grow up and get a real job, and so I went to college, started working in engineering jobs, doing computer-aided drafting, and eventually that's what moved me to the Quad Cities, and then from the Quad Cities to Cedar Rapids. Back then, 12 years ago, there wasn't much of a scene for the gay community, at least what I could find for a new person. I was kind of giving myself another couple of months, and then I was going to move back to Illinois because I was pretty down and out.
What is it that the community was missing that you had found in other communities to plug into your community?
Jen. Jen's the one who made me feel like I fit in, that Iowa was the place to be.
Obviously, the connection worked for them in every way. As most couples, after a few years together, Jen and Rita entered a new phase in their relationship.
On my Planet Out profile, you know, lives in the country, works full-time, interested in a serious relationship, and in huge letters, no kids. I don't want kids. Don't even think about it.
What did you think about her no kids post in her?
I'm like, good luck. Like, that's gonna stop me. Anybody who knows me, if I have my head set on something, I'm gonna get it.
Wow, go girl.
So kids were not off the table. They were just put aside to just suck her in further, and then I could spill the beans and let her know how things were going to be.
I think we were together a couple years, and she said, you know, I really want kids. And I thought, oh, here we go. So I said, yeah, I don't really want kids, but I said, if you can figure out a way to get some here temporarily, you know, try it out. Maybe we could have a friend's kid over. So the next thing I know, I'm signed up for foster parent classes for 10 weeks. And I thought, God, she figured out a way to get temporary kids. How's that going to work? So we got foster parent license, and we met little Robbie, was a friend of ours, nephew. So as soon as we got our license, we asked to take him, which we did, and we got a little boy. First day, I mean, they just need foster parents very badly. We've had kids in the house ever since. And when the idea of adoption came up with Robbie, I saw it coming, so I was okay with that. We had talked about it. We knew Robbie was probably going to be permanent. Yeah. But after that, I said we were done.
Or so she thought.
And we adopted 3 more.
From a family unit of 2 and no kids, Jen and Rita's family grew to 5 and now comprises a household of 8. Yes, 6 kids and 2 adults.
And now between the adopted children and the foster children, we have a total of 6 in the household.
Yep, there's 6 in the house, and apparently each one gets a dog. And a cat.
And a cat.
So, and a cat. And I get the gerbils. So
you get the gerbils, and you have your horses.
I have the horses, and the kids have a pony that they're scared of, so that doesn't
so it doesn't get ridden when they're the llama.
They ride it, and then inevitably the horse will come back down the road without a child, and I have to go get the child. And
like a growing number of couples, both heterosexual and gay, love came first, children followed, and well, marriage.
You 2 got married.
Yep. It was legalized in 2009. And from that day on, I nagged, can we get married, can we get married? And she didn't really want to do it. Her whole thing was she wanted to get married because it was important, and, you know, either in a church or somewhere it was important to have a nice ceremony. And I was more like, no, I want to get married because I can get you insurance. I can make sure the kids are protected. I was very, you know, I mean, I didn't need anybody to validate our relationship. I don't really care. The marriage part to me was all about protecting the family and the kids. It was very much a legal thing. For me, and she really wasn't interested in that. And then, you know, when she saw the cost of insurance going up, and she realized that I couldn't protect the children. If something were to happen to her, it would be harder for me to protect the children with us not being married. So she finally relented, and literally I took my lunch hour, grabbed Danelle, my friend from work, and her husband, who is, oddly enough, a very right-wing Republican, and he agreed to be our witness. And she grabbed the 3 little kids that we had at the time, and we went up to the courthouse in Benton County. The judge married us, and I went back to work.
For a non-traditional couple, their married home life reads like a 1950s TV show. Jen's the breadwinner, and Rita is the homemaker.
She takes care of the house. She's the shopper. She does everything like that. Pretty much when I get home from work, I just eat supper and put the food away, and she has everybody cooked. She does all the lawn work, all the garden stuff. I just kind of do what she wants. You know, when she says the garden needs to be worked in, what do you want me to do is what I say. The day-to-day, you know, making sure everybody has clean clothes, making sure the kids are fed is a full-time job, and she does stay home full-time with the kids. Otherwise, I don't know that we could manage it.
Living on the farm provides the kids with the feeling of freedom and adventure similar to Jen's upbringing, encompasses Rita's structure, and includes both of their commitments to each child learning individual responsibility. The kids range from 6 to 16 and have varied personalities that make this family an interesting and exciting unit.
Have you had any challenges at school with being children of 2 women?
I'm the only one who goes to Roosevelt. I had problems with kids at school. They would bully me about the way I act and the people I live with. This one day when I was on the bus waiting to get to school, I had like a little fight with this girl. We were yelling at each other, and she said I hit her, but she hit me, and then like she went to her brother, her big brother who I had problems with, and he came up to me and he started threatening me. There were other kids, and they were picking on Jen because she was gay. Just before the cops showed up, they told me they were going to kill me. I would say that it isn't right. Gays should be able to marry and be with whoever they want to be with.
When you live with two females, you kind of just get used to it. It's not really that big of a deal, but other people make it out to be a big deal.
Yes, Jen and Rita are two grown women, lesbians, married to each other with a household of kids, adopted and foster, living in the eastern Iowa countryside. If you think they are so different from you, your neighbors, or even your parents, think again.
We were talking about how in our family there is no norm. There's no normal in our family. I would like to see people see that that's the new norm, is there is no normal family. There is no family that's fitted into some kind of cookie cutter ideal. There's this false image that we have that for some reason we think that back in the, you hear people referring, to back in the 1950s there was this norm. There never was. There was just the idea that we would sweep the other families under the table and they didn't count. So I would really like to see people see this show and see us and in the community and realize that there is no truly norm family, that many different types of family can work and be completely functional and raise up and have good, healthy kids and good, healthy family relationships.
What do you two feel that you need to do to further protect your children?
For me, it's advocating for them, making sure that the school knows that we're aware of what's going on, making sure that the school knows we support them. I don't think they need special protection. I think our kids deserve equal protection, and no kid should have to go to school every day stressing.
We are just like everybody else's family. Yeah, we have a few different people, in the family, but we all accept each other for who we are. We all love each other. We're all very caring people. We want to be important parts of the community.
You can't hide your child from other people's values your whole life. You can't cover your head in the sand and pretend that there aren't families out there with different values and different ideals. They may not be more or less, they're just different.
What do you think the heterosexual community, if you will, needs to know about the gay community?
That we encompass the same amount of variety as the straight community. There's a variety of people in the straight community, just like there is in the gay community. And when you see people at Gay Pride, especially like Chicago Gay Pride, they're going crazy and they're taking their clothes off. You know what? Yeah, that's part of our community. Yeah. But if you go to the St. Patrick's Day Parade, you got drunk people and you got people. It's part of the community. Yeah, it is. And life would be boring if you didn't have all these varieties of people. And I think what they got to remember is we're your neighbors, we're your friends, we're your relatives, your family, and we're not here to recruit you or your children. But please don't talk poorly about gay people, especially in front of your kids, because you just never know. You could be doing damage, even if your child is straight. They have friends that are gay, they see people that are gay, and you're only doing damage. You need to remember that gay people aren't there to recruit people. Lesbians aren't there to say, we want everybody to be on our side. That wouldn't be any fun. If we had no variety, it wouldn't be any fun. And life is about having fun and meeting new people and different people. And it's okay to disagree, but don't hate or feel scared because you don't understand. Ask questions, and that's okay. I'd rather have someone ask me a million stupid questions than just grow hate because they don't understand something.
Like any couple truly committed to their relationship, Jen nor Rita can imagine life without the other. Rita describes their relationship as a work in progress, which is just like any relationship of value, including the one that hopefully all of us have with the Corridor community as we work together to respect our differences and celebrate our individuality to build strength and unity.